welcome back. It's so good to see you. So, today we are going to be reading another short story, bedtime story. I always like reading out of this book because the stories are quite short, but they're always stories that I've never heard of before, which is always good. And I always check to make sure that there's no copyright. And this story, there is no copyright because it was written in 1901. Oh my goodness, so it's quite old. So I'm really interested to see what this story is about. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Today's story is titled The Girl Who Owned a Bear by L. Frank Baum. I've never read this story, so I might make a few mistakes. I hope that's okay. Okay. Jane Gladys was amusing herself alone in the big sitting room. She was working on her first piece of embroidery. A sofa pillow for Papa's birthday. The door opened and closed quietly. She raised her eyes and was astonished to find a strange man in the middle of the room. He was short and fat and was breathing heavily from climbing the stairs. He held a hat in one hand, and underneath his other elbow was a good-sized book. He was dressed in a black suit that looked old and rather shabby. "Excuse me," he said, while the child gazed at him in surprise. "Are you Jane Gladys Brown?" "Yes, sir," she answered. very good indeed," he remarked. "What do you want?" she asked. "I'm going to be frank with you. Your father has treated me in a terrible manner." Jane Gladys got off the windowsill and pointed her small finger to the door. "Leave this room immediately," she cried. Her voice was trembling. "My papa is the best man in the world." "Allow me to explain. I called on him the other day and asked him to buy the complete works of Peter Smith. And what do you suppose he did?" She said nothing. "He ordered me from his office and had me put out of the building by the janitor. I decided to be revenged. So I'm going to present you with this book," he said, taking it from under his arm. Then he sat down, drew a fountain pen from his pocket, and wrote her name in it. After handing the book to her, he walked to the door, gave her a bow, and left the room. The child sat down in the window and glanced at the book. It had a red and yellow cover and the word "Thingamajigs" written across the front cover in big letters. And then she opened it curiously and saw her name written in black letters upon the first white page. She turned the page, and she had scarcely noted that it contained the picture of a monkey when the animal sprang from the book with a great crumbling of paper and landed upon the window seat beside her. "Hee," chattered the creature, springing to the girl's shoulder and then to the center table. "This is great fun. Now I can be a real monkey instead of a picture one." "Real monkeys can't talk," said Jane Gladys. "How do you know? Have you ever been one yourself?" inquired the animal. laughing loudly. The girl was quite bewildered by this time. She thoughtlessly turned another page, and before she had time to look twice, there sprang over her shoulder a spotted leopard, which landed upon the back of a big leather armchair and turned to face her with a fierce movement. The monkey climbed to the top of the chandelier and chattered with fright. The leopard crouched upon the back of the chair, lashed his tail from side to side, and glared at them. "Which of us are you going to attack first?" asked the monkey. "I can't attack any of you," snarled the leopard. "The artist made my mouth shut, so I haven't any teeth, and he forgot to give me claws. But I'm a frightful-looking creature nevertheless, am I not?" "I suppose you're frightful-looking enough, but if you have no teeth nor claws, we don't mind your looks at all," said the monkey. This annoyed the leopard so much that he growled horribly, but the monkey just laughed. Just then, the book slipped from the girl's lap, and as she made a movement to catch it, one of the pages near the back opened wide. She caught a glimpse of a fierce grizzly bear looking at her from the page and quickly threw the book to the ground. It fell with a crash in the middle of the room, but beside it stood the great grizzly who had wrenched himself from the page before the book closed. "Now," cried the leopard from his perch, "you'd better look out for yourselves. You can't laugh at him as you did at me. The bear has both claws and teeth." "Indeed I have," said the bear in a low, deep, growling voice, "and I know how to use them too. If you read in that book, you'll find that I eat little girls, shoes, dresses, ribbons, and all." Jane Gladys was much frightened by hearing this, and she began to realize that what the man meant when he had said he gave her the book to be revenged. "You mustn't eat me. It would be wrong." "Why?" asked the bear in surprise. "Because I own you. The book was given to me. My name's on the front page, so you mustn't dare eat your owner." The grizzly hesitated. "Then, of course, I can't eat you." He decided that author is disappointing, as most authors are. "The fault lies with all of you," said Jane Gladys severely. Why didn't you stay in the book where you were put?" The animals looked at each other. "Now, you stupid creatures!" But she was interrupted by them all making a rush for the book. There was a swish and a whirl and a rustling of leaves, and in an instant later the book lay upon the floor looking just like any other book, while Jane Gladys's strange companions had all disappeared. This story should teach us to think quickly and clearly upon all occasions, for had Jane Gladys not remembered that she owned the bear, he probably would have eaten her before the bell rang. What bell? What are they talking about? That's an interesting looking bear too. Isn't that an interesting little story? I liked it. I've never heard that story before. And why was this guy so revenged? Okay, So he's going to basically have this guy's daughter murdered? That's so crazy. How about don't trust anyone, especially strange little men that just appear in your house, you know? Like, that guy's creepy. Creepy, creepy, creepy. Anyway, so what did you think of that short little story? I really enjoyed it. I always enjoy stories out of this book. It's just a 5-minute storybook, but they're stories that I've never heard of. Have you heard of the girl who owned a bear? I haven't. Anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed this short little story. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.